Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. We're going to talk a little hockey today, and on the show, Nick Carriere joins us, the men's hockey coach. Nick is bringing along Ryan Malinowski, a goalie, a junior from East Amherst, New York, right in our own backyard. And then we're going to continue with hockey, and Rob Burke, the women's coach, joins us. And Rob's bringing along Leah Knott, a senior defenseman from Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania. We're going to find out where that's at. And then Mike Bonfante, a project manager here at Buffalo State. He is going to bring us up to date on the Houston gym renovation. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk men's hockey. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bengal Magazine. Let's talk a little hockey now, and the men's program joins us. Nick Carriere and Ryan Malinowski. Gentlemen, welcome. It's been a little while since we've had you on the show. The Bengals are now 6-5-1, 4-3-1 in the conference. Is this a good place for you right now? Is this about where you thought it would be?
No, it's better than not winning any games.
Absolutely,
last place, you know?
Absolutely.
So, I think we've played some really good hockey, and we've played some pretty poor hockey. It's been an inconsistent up and down. We've been having individual meetings with most of our players over the past few days, and that's been one of the consistent things in our meetings. Is just that we've been up and down. You know, as we're just talking. You know, we play a team like Potsdam, who's you know, a hard-working, up-and-coming team in our conference, and you know, we do not show up, and we don't play a very good brand of hockey. We turn around and play against Plattsburgh, you know, a top 10 team in the country the next night, and play our brand of hockey and get rewarded from that. So there's been some of that, you know, going on.
Why do you think that happens, though, Nick? I mean, we hear about that, these weekend games, and, you know, Plattsburgh's was number 5 in the country at the time, and always a great program. Is it looking ahead to Plattsburgh, do you think, when you did have these one-on-ones with the guys, or was it travel? I mean, how does a team go from against Potsdam to against Plattsburgh?
I think I think you mentioned it. It's our guys would look to the Saturday night contest, even though our guys that have been around understand that it's, you know, you got to worry about, you know, what's right in front of you. All week in practice, we don't even talk about. There isn't a game on Saturday. Doesn't exist. It's Friday. That's all we worry about. But there's only so much of that I think that can come from coaches' mouths. It's got to get into the psyche of the players. And I think we learn from these things. You know, you play. You know, we have an hour video session on a Saturday based on what went on Friday, and I think that was a little bit revealing to the guys that, hey, this isn't our identity as a team. How we play, which, you know, whether that had anything to do with our effort on Saturday night, we played an unbelievably physical brand of hockey against Plattsburgh, and we kept it relatively simple and didn't donate to the Plattsburgh cause by turning pucks over a lot and giving them a lot of grade A scoring chances, and that's how we have to play. We're not as skilled as some of the top-end teams in the country, but if we play a certain way, you know, we can beat anybody in the country.
Now, the guy next to you is the goaltender for the Bengals from East Amherst, but it's not like he just drove down the street and joined the club. It's taken its different roads to finally get to Buffalo State. Ryan, in your words, how did it all happen? How are you sitting here at the Buffalo State studio right now?
Probably just through hard work on and off the ice, day in and day out, and still here.
You actually were with the team and then not with the team, and then some injuries happened. Nick, to take us through that whole scenario.
Well, initially it was I think it was 3 years ago, where we had one of our recruited goaltenders who'd left the team, and Ryan was around. I believe Ryan was in the tryout process, and we'd kept his information on file. And when that happened, we reached out, and he was glad to join us, and you know, really was playing a number 2 or number 3 role, just kind of working to try to get in, get some opportunities. Still had a year of junior eligibility left, so after that season. Talked and wanted to go play, and you know, really it was hey, go play, because honestly he wasn't playing for us, and that's something, you know, I think for him to grow as a goaltender, you got to play games. You know that as a goaltender.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things where, hey, go get it, and then he ended up transferring actually to Nichols College. Wasn't getting great opportunities there, and we ran into a situation last year where, again, one of our recruits, didn't stick with us through the first semester, and we were in contact with each other, Ryan and I, through the official means of the NCAA, and I was able to work out where he could come and join us, and came in halfway through the year, and I think over the summertime really worked. He works with Bob Janos, who's an assistant, who's the goalie coach with the Rochester Americans, who works with us, and really did a lot of video on the ice and spent a lot of time, I think, around coaches and kind of learning some of those things. And he's a real student of the game from that respect.
And here he is. And then you give him his first collegiate start, I believe, certainly first this year, against the 13th ranked team in the country. Thanks a lot, Coach. And he comes up with a huge win, 3-2 victory, and was named the conference goalie of the week for that performance. And what goes through your mind when he gives you the puck before the game or wherever he tells you, you're it tonight?
Pretty much just I'm used to playing a lot of games as far as being before that, and not playing for a little while, just shaking off the rust a little, and then just getting comfortable. And as far as the last game, felt just like myself in there in net, and good to get the opportunity and working hard at it.
Were you surprised at the kind of outing you had against this type of team?
No, not really. I know what I'm capable of, and just got to keep working hard.
You guys went from, we talked about the Potsdam-Plattsburgh, and then there was the Oswego game, Oswego number 2 in the country, and you had them on the ropes, up by a goal in the third period, and then a couple quickies. But what does that tell you, Coach, playing the Oswegos and the Plattsburghs at that level, winning one, possibly winning the other one too? What does that tell you about your team?
We have the ability to do some big things. What we talked about against Oswego and how we let that slip away was when things get difficult. Sometimes that's when people start to forget some of the important things that are part of your role.
Right.
One of the things we talk about, I had the opportunity to sit on a train with Joe Neuendijk in Germany a couple of years ago, and I asked Joe, I said, you've been on 3 different Stanley Cup teams. You're one of 3 or 4 guys in the history of hockey that's done that. What are the same things? And he said, one of the main things was trust. Right. And and you think it'd be, a really good goaltender or something like that, but
that was number 1 in my head.
Trust, was it?
Goaltending.
Oh, goaltending, right? Exactly. But that's one of the things we talk about because it's there's 6 guys on the ice, whether it's the goaltender, whether it's the guy in the back check identifying the appropriate guy to pick up. And when the pace gets fast and when you're playing against a really good team with really good players like an Oswego or a Plattsburgh, that's when when things get tough. And I think that's what happened. So, for us, it was really just trying to demand a little bit more in practice, operate a little higher level, so that when we get into those situations, that it's not a shock and that we're something that we're, almost comfortable with to be able to deal with those situations.
We've got about a minute left in the segment, and I'm curious, is looking at the schedule, it's about a month off now before your next game. What do you do as a student athlete to try to keep yourself mentally and physically sharp during that break?
Probably just go to the gym a few times a week, try to get on the ice, and try to act as much like it's not a break as possible. And because when you just kind of take a couple weeks off and you come back and start from stage 1, so just trying to keep it going, not really used to the few-week break, so act like it's a normal routine of going to the gym, working out, trying to get on the ice.
Is it as a coach? How do you kind of keep them motivated during that month? I mean, there's NCAA rules and all that, but you don't want them coming back early January out of shape.
We meet with our strength coach. We evaluate our entire roster and identify the needs of each and every individual player, and adapt the workouts that they're going to have. And it's really a 2-week segment after exam week, and here and they're done. They have 2 weeks off, and we're back January 1st.
Okay.
So this week it's kind of optional ice time, and they can get some testing, some body fat testing and things like that. So there's accountability when they come home, and we wipe the slate clean. January 1, guys get back, and we get right back to seeing who's ready to go and who's competing and who's going to be the best.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, guys. Best of luck the rest of the way. Have a happy holiday in East Amherst, New York, and probably up in Canada for you.
Thank you very much.
Guys,
likewise.
Thanks a lot. We are going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking hockey, and the women's program joins us. Stay with us. Hi, everybody. Let's talk a little women's hockey now. Rob Burke joins us, the head coach of the Bengals, and Rob's bringing along Leah Knott. Welcome. Been a while since we had you on the show. The season's off and running. 6-5-2 overall, 3-4-1 in the conference. And is that a good place for you right now? Is that about where you thought you'd be?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. I'd say we'd probably be a little bit happier with 1 or 2 more wins, but we're playing a really good brand of hockey right now, very consistent. We're really proud of the kids, the way they finished off this semester with 2 road trips back-to-back, real good performance each weekend, and we're really just really pleased with their effort right now.
You've had enough time now, 13 games.
Yeah.
Any surprises out there that maybe before the season you probably wouldn't have thought of?
I think before the season we thought we'd be scoring by committee.
Okay.
But it seems like one line is dominating right now, Christine Bree and, of course, Jenna. And we're okay with that, though, because it's okay to have one line on fire. And
right.
Christine and Bree in particular on fire, and Jenna as a rookie is following right in their footsteps. So it's a really good situation on that first line. Let's
talk about those the weekend. You had a great weekend before the holiday break here, 2-0-1, and the 2 wins over Plymouth and Castleton.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like in those games? Was it a progression from the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden you saw, yeah, this is the way we need to be playing hockey?
Well, it was also a progression within the weekend, Leah, because Friday we weren't totally satisfied with the effort. It just wasn't our game.
Okay.
In fact, they got a lead on us at one point in the second period. But the nice thing is we always talk about it's not how you start, it's how you finish, whether it's within the period, within a shift, within the game. And our kids came back and they showed some intestinal fortitude and got the tie, and then translated that into the 3-0 win on Saturday against the same opponent. And then really a great character win on Sunday because we'd lost another player to injury.
Oh, boy.
Mel White went down towards the end of the second game, and they just stepped up and filled roles, and it was just it was a great game. Excuse me, great game on Sunday to watch and be a part of. It was a lot of fun.
By the way, you said A for the first time in this segment. I just wanted to let you know that. So tell me about Leah Knott here a little bit. Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania. Where is Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, and how did you come to Buffalo State?
Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, it's closest to Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's about 45 minutes from Philadelphia, on the eastern side of Pennsylvania. And when I was younger, I actually lived in Buffalo, so I was looking at schools, obviously, and I kind of wanted just to come back, and I like it here. So
fabulous. And how did you hear about her? How did the recruiting process work?
Well, she was playing for the Princeton Tiger Lilies at the time, and had contacted me through email, I think it was, and she was going to be at the Thanksgiving tournament in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And so I went to see her play then. We didn't get a chance to talk that day because her team lost in the finals, and she made a beeline for the door.
She wasn't too happy.
And so we had to contact each other later on, but it's kind of funny. I was just at that same tournament this year, and I had flashbacks of you walking out the door.
Wow.
It was just, but that's the kind of competitor that she was and is. Which is great, and I saw that she was playing forward at the time, and now we've got her on defense the last couple of years, and doing just a great job for us in that role. Yeah.
Let's talk about a decision you made to go with maybe a smaller roster this year. It seems to be working well. What do you like most about the smaller roster from a coaching perspective?
Well, I think the consistency throughout the lineup. Right now, we talk a lot about internal depth and flexibility because, again, Mel White goes down with an injury. Someone else steps up, and because she was on one of our power play units. And so our other kids step up and do the job equally as well, and we don't really miss a beat. So that's really, something that us as a coaching staff are really excited about because the word trust came up in the last segment. We use that word a lot in our locker room too. Confidence, trust, belief in each other, and right now I just feel a lot of trust coming from them, and that's huge.
How do you handle a smaller roster? Is it something that's in the back of your head? Do you pace yourself on the ice a little bit more, or is it still, I'm going hard for 40, 45 seconds and I'm getting off the ice? How do you handle that?
Well, we definitely still go hard every single shift. It's important because you can't really take a shift off in hockey at all, especially on defense. So we just have to be in shape and make sure that we're getting water when we come off and getting right back out there. And it's actually kind of nice. It keeps you in the game a lot more with only having 2 sets of defense. You get to be out there all the time, and you don't really end up missing very much, which is kind of nice.
Interesting.
I think it keeps their focus really sharp because there's
I would
no,
think.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you
You're
said, there's
back
no
out
time
there
off.
right
Yeah,
away.
There's no time. Yeah.
Absolutely. You had mentioned one line, and I'd be remiss in not mentioning Christine Williams, your senior, who you told me off camera is leading the nation in game-winning goals with 5.
Correct.
She's got 12 goals in 13 games. Probably what you certainly weren't expecting that, but
No.
you were expecting scoring from her.
Right. I mean, she's shown in her history here that she is an offensive contributor for sure. But no one expected the kind of season she's having so far with the 12 goals already, 5 game winners out of 6 games that we've
Amazing.
won. You know, without her, there's a big difference in our season right now.
Do you sense, or have you sensed opponents maybe targeting her a little bit more, or not yet?
So far, only one opponent has.
Okay. Then we'll keep it quiet.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised because last year we shadowed Tori Sharon for Elmira, and it really resulted in that 4-3 overtime win. And I thought, with the early numbers that she's posting, I figured other teams would shadow her. And yet she's hard to shadow because she's really sneaky. She gets into open spots. Bree Murphy found her for that game-winning goal on Sunday. 2 players, Bree's playing fantastic. She's the catalyst to our team right now. And she brought 2 players with her to the sideboards, did a little button hook, found Christine wide open in the slot, tape-to-tape pass, and Christine made no mistake. It was
Beautiful.
it was fantastic.
You should be a play-by-play announcer.
Should
That's pretty good. 30 seconds left. You have a month off, Miss Student Athlete, and you had just talked about staying in shape. What do you do during that month off, on and off the ice, to stay in shape?
Well, just try to hit the gym as often as possible and get as much ice time as often as possible, too. A lot of us are working over winter break, too,
Yep.
so it's just a matter of balancing all of that and family and
That's all.
all of that. Yeah.
That's all.
Work, hockey,
Juggling.
family, holidays,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
stay in
that's it.
shape,
Not
too.
too much.
Well, Rob and Leah, thanks very much for being on the show. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck the rest of the way, and happy holidays.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to take another break, and we come back. Mike Bonfante is going to join us, and we're going to talk about the renovation of Houston Gym. Stay with us. Well, a lot of viewers out there are familiar with what we term Houston Gym. It's been around for about 60 years, and it is going to be getting a major facelift. And here to talk about that is Mike Bonfante. He's a project manager here on campus. And Michael, welcome. You and I have been talking a lot about this for about a year and a half. And where are we in the progress of the renovation of Houston Gym?
Well, we've developed the program and we've got schematic phase approval, which means the floor plate and the plan is pretty locked in now. So we're going to detail.
I find it interesting how the details get to be details, from beginning and early meetings with coaches to basically what we have now. It's been about a year and a half of talking, hasn't it?
Yes, there's a layering of a great deal of information and input.
Right, absolutely. Clough Harbor Associates are the architects on board. And what are we looking at here, Mike? This is the first floor of the renovated Houston Gym. Take us through that a little bit.
Well, this floor plan shows that we've basically rearranged the spaces to create a clear pathway and wayfinding through the building,
Okay.
consolidating the academic services and the athletic services into cores so that they maintain their separate but related
Right.
functions.
I think you touched on a word or a phrase, wayfinding, I believe it's called,
Yep.
which I've now learned, and that is basically how to get in and how to find places in there. Because if you're familiar with Houston Gym right now, it's like a maze. I mean, you're all around, but this takes you in, and then you have a couple of main hallways to get you around.
Right, it's simplified. You get much clearer paths.
The racquetball courts, with people are familiar with, if you're familiar with Houston Gym, basically stay where they are, but boy, so much more changes. Why? Football used to be down here in the sports arena, now all the way up here. What is the reasoning behind that?
Well, it takes the football services and related administration for football and consolidates it, puts the athletic core for football close to a field connection.
Okay.
With also a look forward to the potential end of there being a stadium added if that were possible.
Yes, there's been talk about a stadium, hasn't there? That's interesting. That's for a future show. And then down here, we're trying to do what with men's and women's teams?
Well, we've added a central corridor to a men's and team core that separates the women's and the men's, but gives them each their own locker space with showers and bathrooms.
Okay.
So that it makes sure that there's all the privacy, but it's a consistent entry.
Absolutely. And athletic training will now be one large room, because now we have a rehab room down one hall and we have the training facility in another hall.
Right.
Moving to round 2, which is the second floor. Bear with me out there. This is, I think, some of the major, well, there's so many major changes with the renovation. First of all, we're getting more, what appears to be more space inside Houston Gym. And I think it's, you tell me, is it because we're using the space better?
Yes, we're making better use of circulation. We took a lot of the old circulation out and put it in the rooms. And we took space away from the gymnasium where it used to have seating.
Correct.
We've taken some of that space that was dedicated to seating and made it program space.
Okay. So the gymnasium is actually a bit smaller, but still having a full court. Those familiar with Houston Gym and Dick Beer and Gail Maloney and basketball inside, that basketball court is still there. And then there's basketball courts this way for recreation as well.
We maintain much the same physical layout.
Right. And because we reduced this, those familiar with the fitness center downstairs, now that's going upstairs. Students will be able to look out over the community, over the field, and it's right here, and it's a little bit bigger.
Well, it's about 25% bigger.
Absolutely.
This glass that corners this room where the current multipurpose room is going to be a great vantage point and a lot of daylight. There will be new windows put in there, too.
Absolutely. And that's a need. I mean, our students are asking for more room in the fitness center, so that was taken care of. And then if some folks are familiar with Houston Gym as it is now, and office space has been all over the place, now all of a sudden we have the athletic wing down here. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we've taken the administrative core for the athletics and put it in the corner, also adding glass and a view there.
I like that idea.
And relating this to the outside, all these coaches' offices, so that they're in a consistent path in the same place and pretty generic so that we can use them in a number of ways.
Fantastic. And then the Bengal room, which many people are familiar with, is still there, a bit smaller in the sports arena. It's the only really part of the sports arena that we touch, because moving some offices here and our academic center is now moved up to be part of the Bengal room.
Yes, the athletics department already had a presence in that,
Correct.
What they call the knuckle, the architects call that. And the Bengal room is going to be more right-sized for the use and have a connection to the arena, so it gives it another added benefit.
Right, and then when this is not being used, students can use the academic center and then walk into the Bengal room for additional study time and study space.
Yes.
Tell us, what are we looking at here, Mike?
Well, this is the first proposal to go through of the new front entrance of the Houston Gym. The idea would be to take the current canopy out and add glass 2 floors high so that you have a vision line from the center of the campus into both these areas and the feature wall on the second floor in the gym.
Yeah, and so much of this is about, you can't change the entire building, but we're trying to make at least the entrance look more appealing for recruits, retention, current students, that they're walking into a building that, wow, what's inside here?
Right, and the hours of operation for this building do span into the evening, and it will be better for access for safety and security.
And it's very interesting because, I hope I'm going to the next one, as you're looking into this, back here, up against the wall, will be this mural or video board. Talk to us about what we're seeing up here, first of all.
Well, right here, you're landing up on the main floor, the activity floor of the building.
Okay.
The bottom floor being more of the service core, locker rooms, and other things. So this is the public space. So when you enter this, when you approach this, there will be a 3-dimensional graphics wall with pictures of athletes or other things to be determined, probably backlit, with a couple of small video display monitors that will read content to update people as to what's going on in the building or on the campus.
And then as you go down, you come up the stairs. If you make a right, those familiar with Houston Gym, you would be going into, what's this area right there?
Well, as you approach, you're behind the Bengal. There will be the athletics administrative core.
Okay.
You can see that there's a stairway at the very end of the hallway that gives you a daylight end. It tells you where you are, how far you've got to go, and the fitness center is on the other side of that, across from athletics.
And then back here also are the athletic team offices?
The coaches' offices.
Coaches' offices. And then down here, what do we, now this is another view, but I think from the administrative
Right,
suite
this
from
is
here,
from in
looking
front
back.
of the Bengal, looking the other way, and that shows toward the academic core where health and wellness offices and their core services are stacked.
Mike, thanks a lot for being here. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody here at Instructional Resources, and for you for viewing in. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next year for more Bengal Magazine.